and text 81333.
BBC Newcastle, radio for the North East.
(8:22). Only a fraction of lorries using our roads are fitted with sensors and safety cameras designed to help keep pedestrians and cyclists safe. The road safety charity Brake says just 1 in 5 freight companies have rear-facing cameras on all their vehicles. Side-facing cameras and sensors are also rarely used. Philip Goose is a spokesperson for the charity. So, Philip, a few more details from your survey.
Yeah, so this is obviously a really big issue. As you mentioned, 1 in 5 HGV operators don't have rear-facing cameras on the vehicles, aren't taking advantage of this. And I think it's worth starting off by thinking about why this is such a big issue. A quarter of road deaths and serious injuries involve a vehicle being driven for work. So there's a clear need for employers to do something. HGVs make up 5% of the vehicles on our roads, but they're involved in a quarter of cyclist deaths and 1 in 7 pedestrian deaths. So what this is showing is that we really need to be making our roads safer, but also making our vehicles safer and taking advantages of new designs and new technologies where they are available.
And you think this is purely down to visibility?
Yeah, so I think that there's a few different issues. I think obviously we campaign vigorously for safe segregated space so that cyclists and HGVs don't have to mix. But where it's still the case that does happen, visibility is a big issue. So there's certain things which can be done in terms of completely redesigning HGVs so that they are more visible without new technologies. But on older vehicles, technology has a really big part to play to making sure that drivers know what's around them and eliminating those built-in blind spots.
Well, Brake says that in 2013, 78 people on foot or bike were killed by lorries, and a Northumberland road safety campaigner, Kate Cairns' sister, Ailey, was cycling in London back in 2009 when she was killed by a lorry. Let's speak to Kate, because you've started your own campaign, See Me, Save Me. And one of your things, Kate, is about the design of the lorries themselves.
Hi, yes, we started See Me, Save Me campaign back in 2009 after Ailey was run over from behind by a tipper lorry. I mean, I was shocked to find out that this just happens on a regular occurrence in London. It happens in London, but also on other cities around the UK. And that's why we started the See Me, Save Me campaign, to try and do something to stop this happening again and again and again. And first of all, we went to Strasbourg with our local MEP, Fiona Hall, and we were calling then for mandatory installation of cameras and sensors. So this was 5 or 6 years ago we were calling for this. And the majority of MEPs supported our campaign. And that then had to go to the Commission, who then were obliged to give a response. And at that time, the Commission said, we can't do this because there is no evidence that shows that cameras and sensors will make this problem go away. Now, we know, and Road Peace and See Me, Save Me know that in every case, in the majority of cases, the drivers just say, we did not see them. And you can have they have 6 mirrors on their cabs at the moment, but if the driver isn't looking in that mirror at that time, the mirrors don't work. And so we've been calling for these cameras and sensors for a long time. But as has just been said, now there's even a greater move. The construction industry's moved forward now, and they're much more receptive to actually redesigning the whole cab. And we went again to the European Parliament last year. I went with Transport for London and the Mayor Cycling Commissioner, Andrew Gilligan, and with Chris Boardman. And we were a delegation campaigning for direct vision lorries, and that's for a total redesign of the cab, so that drivers can see out of the window rather than have to rely on technology.
Now, the other side of this, Kate, is that, the lorries themselves are multi-ton vehicles. They're big beasts, and they need a very high standard of driver in the cab initially. When it comes to cyclists, there aren't the similar tests for the cyclists who are on the road, and they're, with very little protection. What can cyclists do to help make the road safer?
There's guidance for cyclists on how to ride, but there's a problem in that there's a real conflict between the expectation of drivers and the knowledge of cyclists. I mean, cyclists are supposed to take the lane. The safest place for cyclists is 1 metre out from the curb. But many drivers don't know this. Drivers are supposed to, when they're overtaking cyclists, they're supposed to give as much room as they would to a car. Many drivers don't know this. So in the case of Ailey, she was doing exactly what she should have been. And there's a case of Katrina Patel, who is a semi-professional cyclist. Even Bradley Wiggins has been knocked off his bike. So I want to really put the focus on the vehicle which poses the greatest risk. And in the construction industry, we are excellent at managing risk and risk mitigation, and we have to concentrate on reducing the danger at source. And just to a point that really emphasises this, it's already been said that many pedestrians are killed by lorries, but in London there are twice as many pedestrians killed by HGVs than cyclists. So
it would protect your methods. You believe would be to protect pedestrians as well as cyclists.
So what would we be asking pedestrians to do to protect themselves? Are we going to be giving them high-vis and helmets and training? You know, we want to encourage people to cycle. We want to encourage children to cycle. We want to encourage active travel, which will reduce obesity, create a better environment for everyone. We have to focus on reducing the risk at source.
Thank you, Kate. That's Kate, who has started her own campaign called See Me, Save Me after losing her sister, Ailey. Your thoughts on how to make our roads safer? 0191 232 6565.
Let's head down